you read the papers? Do you know what everybody says? It's suicide. You've seen him. You know how strong he is. You can't win.
Bruce Banner's inner demon Hulk is experiencing a character revival on Al Ewing and Joe Bennett's Immortal Hulk series. Marvel is also celebrating their 80th anniversary this year. They are releasing a series of one-shot books of classic characters featuring some of their most influential creators. This week, it's Incredible Hulk Last Call from writer Peter David and artist Dale Keown. It's a terrific change of pace from Immortal Hulk and introduction to David and Keown's treatment of the character. Peter David had a fantastic run from 1987 to 1998 on the Incredible Hulk series. He's widely recognized as the most influential voice behind Hulk's character and lore. Dale Keown was his partner in crime from 1990 to 92 and contributed to countless classic Hulk stories. David named Keown one of 3 artists whose work most closely matched the visuals he conceived while writing the character, along with George Perez and Leonard Kirk. In 2002, they reunited for their first one-shot, Hulk the End. It tells the story of Hulk as the lone survivor after a nuclear holocaust destroys life on Earth. It's a terrific story. I highly recommend it. Artist Dale Keown drew some of the most treasured, significant issues in the history of Hulk. It's great seeing him illustrate the big guy once again. Keown's work has an old-school feel that's very appealing to look at. His paneling is clean and flows naturally. The facial expressions of his human characters can be a bit muted at times. The book also features multiple inkers and color artists. The transitions aren't seamless, but don't detract from the art or story either. Keown's art shines brightest drawing Hulk and the other monsters in the story. Currently, Immortal Hulk features many impressive splash pages of Hulk in action. Last Call keeps the action a bit more contained, which is appropriate for the more intimate story it tells. All in all, the illustrations are fantastic and deeply engaging. Keown's visual storytelling fits Peter David's emotional narrative effortlessly. I rate the artwork in Incredible Hulk Last Call 4 out of 5. Peter David creates a brand new story arc in 2002's Incredible Hulk The End. He's taken a different approach this go-around. Last Call is Bruce Banner beaten down by the burden of the Hulk and features excellent characterization. Bruce Banner calls the suicide prevention hotline to talk with a friend of his now-deceased wife, Betty Ross Banner. He tells Veronica about past suicide attempts Hulk thwarted. I believe the page featuring the actual suicide attempts is removed from printed versions of the book. Bruce used to think Hulk was a manifestation of his inner rage. After living many years with his alter ego, he now sees Hulk as the personification of his will to live. Bruce confides he hired a hitman to end his suffering. He negotiated hand signals beforehand and is preparing to give the order to kill. Bruce recalls meeting Betty Ross the day before his exposure to the Gamma Bomb. Hulk is portrayed mocking and goading Banner during the encounter. The Hulk personality was always inside Bruce. The Gamma Bomb didn't create him. Gamma exposure manifested Hulk physically and gave him enormous powers afterwards. Bruce recalls all the lives ruined by the destructive physical manifestation of his inner demon. Betty was married before meeting him. He imagines she would have had a great life and be a mother if not for him. Rick Jones spent years trying to help Banner. He may be a rock star if not for Hulk. Thunderbolt Ross had to forego aspirations for the highest office in the land trying to stop Hulk. It's a rather sad state Bruce finds himself in after all these years. Peter David does an amazing job crafting an emotional journey in just 30 pages. I rate the characterization 4.5 out of 5. David also does an excellent job crafting a This Is Your Life narrative and an emotionally drained Bruce Banner. Bruce calls the hotline to speak with Victoria. He relays his personal anguish and seems at peace with his decision to end his life once and for all. She asks him what Betty would do. She would want him to live. Banner tells the story of love at first sight and their whirlwind romance. He became Hulk after meeting her, but eventually they separate into separate entities, giving the couple the opportunity to finally marry. Betty doesn't view Bruce as a monster and loves him in spite of Hulk. MODOK eventually turns Betty into a monster herself called Harpy to get at Bruce and Hulk. He initially cures her, but one day she transforms again. She tries to murder Hulk, but he subdues her after an enormous confrontation. Eventually, his enemies kill Betty with a low dose of gamma radiation poisoning. Bruce questions why he should live after all the pain and destruction he causes. Bruce hears Mr. Hyde arrive at the suicide prevention office. Hulk emerges, and the two have a very physical battle. The action scenes are amazing, and the look of Mr. Hyde's face after Hulk finishes him off is somewhat haunting. Hulk is a destructive force, but in Bruce's hands is ultimately used for good. Bruce decides he's not ready to end his life. He and Hulk can still help people like Veronica. He calls off his own assassination as the book ends. The plot in this story is well crafted and executed. I rate it 3.5 out of 5. Incredible Hulk Last Call is a much different take on the character than Immortal Hulk. It's a more psychological take on Banner's personal demons. Peter David takes readers on an emotional roller coaster and makes you empathize with Bruce Banner. Dale Keown's art does an amazing job conveying the story told. I rate Incredible Hulk Last Call 4 out of 5 overall. I highly recommend this to readers of David's past work and those interested in Hulk's past. It doesn't tie directly into Immortal Hulk, but Ewing's story is inspired by David's work. This book helps new readers fill in some gaps of Hulk knowledge and will likely be a gateway to Peter David's classic 12-reader run with the character. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.